Hi everyone, welcome to a new reading. Thank you for joining me. Today we're going to be asking the question, what is the next step that your soul is ready to take? We're asking this question mainly because sometimes when we're working so hard towards our goal, we're trying to manifest our dream into our reality. And then we get anxious and we get exhausted. We think to ourselves, why haven't things happened for me yet? And then we get into that old habits of overthinking, overanalyzing. We start to question our decisions and choices. And sometimes we might even get into this habit of procrastinating because we might be feeling like, oh, we need to call out to the universe, we need to wait for permission for something to happen in order to move forward. And so we're going to be asking the spirits through the cards today what our soul is ready to do for the next step in order to give us that nudge forward. So let's look at the cards. The first one we have is Hekate or Hekate. The rune that comes with her is the witch rune Athame. The second card is Athena, and the rune that comes with her is the alchemy rune Bismuth. And the last one we have is Marie Laveau, and the alchemy room that comes with her is the gold stone. Okay, so please take a moment to feel which image or which rune, which symbol resonate with you the most as you think about this question, what is the next step that your soul is ready to take, and choose your card, and we're going to dive right in. Hi, Group 1, welcome to your reading. So you picked the Significator card, Hecate, and also the Witch Room Athame. So before we dive into your reading, I just wanted to mention something interesting happened when I was selecting the Significator card and also the rune. I originally intended to pull alchemy runes for this reading. So I had alchemy runes all in one pouch and witch runes in another pouch, so they should be separate. And somehow this particular, and only this particular witch rune got mixed in the alchemy runes pouch, and it just happened to be the first rune that I pulled. And I mean, what are the odds? Hecate is the goddess of witchcraft and sorcery, and we just happened to pull the Athame rune, a witch rune, along with her significator card. So I just wanted to mention this before we go into your reading. I thought maybe there's some synchronicity there for some people. Maybe you're interested in witchcraft, or you're interested in sorcery, or maybe you have some connection with Hecate or witchcraft. Yeah, but I thought it was interesting because she's related to not just witchcraft, but she's also like the torches in the night, in the darkness. She's also the deity associated with crossroads. When you're at a crossroads, when you're trying to make decisions to move forward, when you're working through your shadows to get from your point A to point B, she's one of the deities associated with that kind of theme or topic or situation. I guess that's maybe how I would put it. And Athame in witchcraft, some people use that as ceremonial dagger, and they use it to draw like circles. So I would see it as like it's associated with boundaries. So maybe this group in particular is at a crossroads because there is some issues with your boundary. Maybe you're not manifesting what your dream into your reality. You're stuck at a crossroad because you're unsure how to readjust your boundaries. Maybe it's boundaries with your past experience. It could be boundary with your physical environments, the people that you work with, maybe friendship, maybe partnership, your family. Yeah, so let's look at the oracle cards and let me understand more of the energy that is associated with this group. So we have toxic waters. So yeah, I do feel that you're drained or you feel stuck in your current situation, and you're finding it hard to move forward because maybe you are in a toxic relationship, maybe your work environment is toxic. Yeah. Okay, let's look at your second card. Let's draw two cards for this one. Finicky wisdom. Usually, I'm also an animal communicator, and so in my session with clients, sometimes this comes up, a cat being picky or the dog being picky about their food, and why are they being selective about their food? Sometimes they are actually reflecting what is needed to improve in their owner's life. So it could be that their owners is not very selective in their friendship. They're actually hurting themselves by being with this person. You know, they're actually draining their own energy by being with this friend or by allowing themselves to be manipulated or gaslighting. So they're showing this as a as a reflective mirror to what you are doing to yourself. And then you got to think of, why are you doing this to yourself? You know, is it because of external validation? You're not really thinking that you are perfect the way you are. So these are the things that I'm seeing. Let's look at your tarot cards to get more details. Spirit, can we get some answers for group one? What is going on with their life? What their soul is ready to change for their next stage. Okay, so you got Three of Cups. Can you see it? Yeah. So look at this person. Look at this girl. She seems a little bit bored, maybe. You know, she's with friends and they seem to be having a good time, but then she also carries this expression of boredom on her face. Okay. You have the Magician. This Magician is interesting because it looks like someone who's, you know what, with there's this difference between the two cards where this person is so involved in the, I would say, like the real in-person social activities, whereas this person is more, you know, closed up in his own room and is interacting with the outside world through the computer, through a virtual platform. So yeah, let's look at the third one. Six of Cups reversed. So I really do think that this, if it's related to work, it could be your immediate environments, the coworkers that you closely work with. It might be mostly about the friends that you associated with day to day, or friends that you are conversing with, you're interacting with very often these days. And I feel like your soul is saying that, because the Magician is also about different possibilities, infinite possibilities. And it seems like there needs to be a change in your relationship and how you network. And I can feel that this, whatever that is going on, that is draining you in your interaction with other people and your social activities, they're draining you, and this is permeating into other areas of your life. And it could be financial, it could be just emotional. You know, even if there's nothing wrong with your relationship with others, it could also be your relationship with yourself. Perhaps you're stuck in your current situation because you haven't dealt with whatever past experience that you've had, and it is blocking your possibilities, your potentials. And it feels like the spirit or your soul is ready to part ways with that. Part ways with people, your friends. If you're in toxic work situation, can you somehow adjust the way that you interact with these people? You know, the way that you are interacting with them, the way that you are making yourself compromise, it does not really show the full spectrum of who you are, what you're capable of, and your soul is ready to just up and go. Okay, let's see if there's any advice your soul has for you. Okay, yeah, follow your heart. Knight of Cups. I think for this group you already know what is wrong or what is going on. You already feel that urge to do something different, to take yourself away from that situation and follow what your heart really wants. And your heart really wants to give yourself more self-care and self-love instead of letting the toxic situations draining you, letting whatever that doesn't. Let's look at the bottom of the deck. What is the underlying theme here? What is the major theme that we need to look at? Oh, Seven of Cups reversed. Yeah, I think your soul has already chosen to exit this illusion. And yeah, whereas you're still living in that dream and you're wearing a superficial mask, maybe you're making compromises in order to please others, people pleasing behaviors, and allowing yourself to get drained in that toxic situation and get malnourished in an environment that does not nourish you. And your soul has already picked a path at the crossroad because your soul has already chosen the Athame for you. Either it wants you to draw a physical boundary, and if that's not possible, because sometimes maybe if it's in the workplace situation, maybe it's not something that we can do immediately, but then can you draw an emotional or mental boundaries between you and the people who are draining you, so that you can live your life freely and looking forward to infinite possibilities. You look more alive when you're not caged up in those people situations. And I mean, we also mentioned that this could be your relationship with yourself. And so that can also be saying, give yourself more self-care, self-love, self-forgiveness. Yeah, so I think that's what your soul, the next step that your soul is ready to take is to take another look at the things that are draining you, and look at it with the perspective that could this be an illusion that I'm living out right now, and is there any way that I can draw the line for me to not be caged up in that dream anymore and actually bring more real happiness into my life. So group number one, that's your reading for today, and I hope that has given you some insights and clarity. Please take whatever that resonate with you, and until next reading, bye bye. Hi group 2, welcome to your reading. So you have Athena and also the Bismuth alchemy rune. So Bismuth is a stone that is brittle and it gets stronger when it's mixed with other metals. And Athena comes usually to remind that with the issues that we have on hand, we have to maintain emotional balance or emotional intelligence, or we need maturity and logical thinking, logical analysis, and rational thinking to solve the problems. So what I feel like is perhaps you've been running away from confronting the root of your problems head on, and so that you've been trying to navigate away from it, and because you never tried to face it directly and solve it directly, so it would feel like you're running in circles, so not really moving ahead much. Maybe that's the blockage or stagnation there. Okay, let's look at the Fortune Oracle deck and see if we can get understand more of the energy here. The unheard message. So it feels like maybe you know intuitively that you are supposed to solve your problems directly, but you are avoiding it because it feels like either the universe, or maybe it's both. The universe is talking to you, and you're like, oh, I'm making this wish to the universe. I'm calling out to the universe, but why aren't you making things come true for me? Why aren't you helping me? Why aren't you guiding me? Why aren't you supporting me? And the universe is like, oh, I'm guiding you, but you're not listening. Maybe it's that. Okay. Pause motion. Yeah, I do feel like there's the root of problem you have not dealt with. And if you just try to run away from that, it seems like you pile on more and more dirt. And so the dog is like digging a hole is to remove all that dirt you accumulated by trying 100 other different things besides going into it. You know, that's how I'm seeing it. Let's look at the tarot cards. I've already shuffled this. So, Eight of Cups. Yeah, maybe see how this person is running away, but is not really getting away. So maybe you should take a look at your situation more carefully without any judgment or bias or fear, because sometimes it's the fear of the unknown that gets us stuck in this place, and it's the fear of the unknown that makes us want to try the old way, the way that is not supposed to break through any of the blockages or obstacles for us. Two of Swords reversed. I think you're being asked to just throw away what doesn't really work for you. Maybe you are listening to others' advice instead of listening to your heart of what the real solution might be. And so you've been trying other ways that maybe work for other people, but it's not really fitting for your situation. Okay. The Chariot. So I do feel like your soul is saying, just get rid of all the other noises. It could be opinions from others. Sometimes people, they are just trying to help us, but what works for other people's probably don't work for you, particularly if your situation is unique, and particularly because each and every one of us is unique in the way that we connect with elements of the world, including people, including how we think, how we perceive things are happening for us. And so what you really need to do is sit down with yourself and listen to your heart, looking for that intuitive solution that comes to you instead of listening to others, because that will not lead you anywhere. Whereas if you go with the problem head on, with your own approach, even if it feels like, oh, that's not what worked for this friend, that's not worked for my sister, that's not worked for my other friend, then what's gonna happen if I try this? If you're letting fear of the unknown, if you're letting fear of failure holding you back, then you're not moving. So what you need to do is really take the initiative to carve your own path. And it's not impulsiveness, because remember your significator card is Athena. So she represents wisdom. So this is you coming up with the solution through critical thinking, critical problem solving. So you gotta trust yourself, you have that ability. Let's pull another card, because I pulled 4 cards for group 1, so let's see if there's any additional advice for you. Two of Wands reversed. So it seems like if this resonates with your situation, group two, it seems like you, even after having said all that, even after hearing that your soul wants you to take the initiative to trailblaze your own path, to carve your own path, it feels like you're still afraid. It feels like you're still unsure, or maybe you would feel like, oh yeah, I should really do that. I'm gonna do that. And then maybe after a couple days you would be like, oh no, it seems kind of hard. It seems like it takes a lot of time, and it might take a lot of time because it's something that probably other people have not tried before. Let's say if you are coming up with a creative idea that is different from whatever people before you have done, of course it's going to take some time. Of course it's going to take some trial and error. With everything that is new, you do have to go through challenges and winning over challenges, and maybe there are different attempts, but each attempt teaches you a new lesson, pile on that wisdom for you to reach that finish line. And if you are afraid at any moment, and if you let fear overwhelm you and anxiety overwhelm you, then again, you are not moving ahead. So I think your soul knows what you might do and is trying to remind you not to do that, not to give up your vision, not to look for shortcuts, but really laser focus on your approach, your path, and your goal. Let me see if there's anything that we can draw from the bottom of the deck. The Fool. Yeah, take the leap of faith. You may be walking on a path that no one has walked on. So you do need to take that leap of faith. You do need that self-trust to just go. Go and create a new world. So group two, I think that's your reading for today. Please take whatever resonates. I hope that this has given you some insights and clarity. And until next time, bye-bye. Hi, group three. Welcome to your reading. You have Marie Laveau and the gold alchemy rune. So gold, I feel that it represents perfection. It represents valuable things. And perfection, it seems unattainable, but then it's through various process of purification, purifying yourself of prior conditioning. Perfection is achievable. And Marie Laveau, she represents many things, but to me, she is about loving, healing, kindness, but she's also about staying true to herself, staying true to her faith and beliefs, and staying resilient even when faced with various kinds of adversities, and still able to have that gracefulness to her, and still able to stay loving and kind and bring people together. Maybe she's reflecting some aspects of group three. Maybe you're the gold before it becomes gold, or maybe you're not living like you are the gold, or maybe you don't recognize that you are gold. Let's look at the Fortune Oracle deck and see what's the energy for group three. So leave your mark. This sometimes happens in my session with my client because I'm an animal communicator, and there would be cats that would leave marks. So they mark their territory. It could reflect in their owner in the sense that the humans are not living their true self. So the animal is reflecting the behavior in their humans in their behavior, drawing your attention to how you're not being true to yourself. Okay, and the second card is the spark beneath. Yeah, you definitely want to see where in your life that you are hiding your true self, your true feelings, and why are you doing that? Let's look at the tarot cards. Knight of Cups reversed. Unfulfilled dreams, superficial happiness, unfulfilled wishes, getting what you wanted is not really bringing you joy. Maybe you're acting that you are happy. Seven of Wands. Can you see that? I don't want it to get blurry. Yeah, okay. Seven of Wands. Standing your ground through adversity. I can also look at the image in the card. It almost looks like at work. I mean, it doesn't have to be about work, but since we're looking at a card that is about work right now, so let's just talk about work and career. But note that this could also happen in your family life, could also happen between your friends, among your friends. Maybe people are piling work onto you and you're trying to draw a boundary, or maybe you let other people convince you into doing more work than you have to. And so your soul, yeah, I think this is what it is. Maybe you've been doing this and other people are saying like, oh, group 3, you're so helpful. You know, you're the person that we always go to for this kind of problem. You always know how to solve things. You're so helpful. And so then they would always come to you with millions of other things that they should have dealt with themselves. But because maybe you want to, it could be that you want to be helpful. You naturally want to help others because you are a kind and loving person. You're caring. So then you get convinced into doing most of their work for them, or you get sucked into other people's problems and you end up entangled in their problems as well. And your soul is probably saying, you know, you really need to stand your ground and be true to yourself. You shouldn't be doing that for them. You shouldn't be taking on other people's burden. Yeah. So look how, if you do that, if you are able to say no, and it's almost like, yeah, say no, but marking your territory. This is my territory. This is my boundary. Then you're going to be able to discover another possibility in your life, and you're going to be glowing. Like how, look at how she's working with others. Now she looks much lighter compared to this person, much lighter and much more able to work with others with better clarity, with better maturity. And she's working with people who are more mature as well and working towards the same vision. Instead of working for others, you're working with others instead of working for others. And you're going to be glowing if you take the courage to say no. You're still going to be a loving, kind person, but a loving and kind person with discipline and boundary, with her own rules. That's also the thing with Marie Laveau as well. She has her own beliefs and her own principles. Do we have another card? Then you're stepping into your light. It's like you would be glowing if you stop working for others. You work with yourself first and work with others. Maybe that's what's stopping you in manifesting a glowing life for yourself. That's stopping you from enjoying real, true joy in your life, the real beauty of life. So you need to extract yourself of all other people's burdens, gaslighting you, manipulating you into doing their own work, into solving their problems. Right, so what's the bottom of the deck? Six of Swords reversed. So don't get stuck by other people trying to gaslight you and prevent you from moving on. You need to move on from their problems. They're not yours to begin with, but they become yours. Be more compassionate with yourself. Instead of trying to be loving and kind to other people, be loving and kind to yourself so that you are able to let the gold come to the surface and enjoy your life the way that you should be enjoying it. You know, so if people come to you with their problems, and if you're tired and it's really not your responsibility, yeah, just just politely say, I'm busy right now with my own stuff, and yeah, this is what your soul wants, and hopefully you would work with your soul to get to this place. So group number 3, I think that's your reading for today. Please take whatever resonates, and I hope that this has brought you some clarity and insights. And until next time, bye.